Do give a shit who wins the next election. And outdated racial pandering is one reason Democrats lose elections. When Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi put on kente cloth, I don't think it earned them one vote for their powerful emotional. We're now segregating kidnapping. Really. California doesn't just have Amber Alerts for missing children. We have Ebony Alerts for black children and Feather Alerts for Native American kids. What is that? We look for them by listening on the ground?
Bill Maher isn't letting the last sparks of the woke left burn unnoticed, and honestly, it's hilarious to watch. Some people think wokeness is dead, but it's still limping along, just not roaring like it once did. And Maher knows exactly how these folks operate, so he's making sure not a single ember reignites. He's back, throwing down brutal reality checks that shake the woke crowd at its core. So, if you love commentary that cuts through the noise, hit that subscribe button because this is just the beginning.
Who's changed? It's the left, who is now made up of a small contingent who've gone mental and a large contingent who refuse to call them out for it. But I will. That's why I'm a hero at Fox these days. Which shows just how much liberals have their head up their ass, because if they really thought about it, they would have made me a hero.
What's funny is that Maher has unintentionally become a sort of folk hero for conservatives and old-school liberals alike. Not because he switched sides, but because he's one of the few willing to tear into the nonsense coming from his own camp. While most left-leaning comedians dance around woke ideology, Maher jumps right in, ripping it apart with sharp humor and blunt honesty. And honestly, it shouldn't even be considered heroic to call out wokeness. It's just common sense. But in today's cancel culture climate, speaking plain truth has bizarrely turned into an act of rebellion.
Not my fault that the party of FDR and JFK is turning into the party of LOL and WTF.
Think back to when Democrats produced leaders like FDR and JFK, figures who champion national strength, economic growth, secure borders, and unapologetic pride in America. That vision has been replaced by a party obsessed with virtue signaling, identity politics, and appeasing fringe groups rather than serving everyday people. It's gotten so bad that even lifelong Democrats like Robert F. Kennedy Jr. have walked away and joined the Republicans. When a Kennedy, whose name is practically Democratic royalty, jumps ship, you know something's deeply broken.
Congress tweeting things like cancel rent, cancel mortgage, and no more policing or incarceration, declaring that capitalism is slavery, canceling Lincoln and Dr. Seuss, teaching children they're oppressors and math is racist, making Mr. Potato Head gender neutral, and now an emoji for pregnant men. Real, I'm not making it up.
This used to be basic stuff, rooted in biology, facts, and plain old common sense. But the woke left came charging in, declaring that generations of scientists, doctors, and everyday people somehow got it all wrong. Why? Not because of new discoveries, but because they wanted a new cultural battlefield to control. They started pushing biological men into women's sports, erasing decades of progress for female athletes. Then came the absurd claims that men can get pregnant, give birth, even breastfeed. That's not compassion, it's delusion. This isn't just a fight over gender. It's a war on truth itself.
Give a shit who wins the next election. And outdated racial pandering is one reason Democrats lose elections. When Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi put on kente cloth, I don't think it earned them one vote for their powerful emotional ties to Ghana. Here in California, we're now segregating kidnapping. Really. California doesn't just have Amber Alerts for missing children. We have Ebony Alerts for black children and Feather Alerts for Native American kids. What is that? We look for them by listening on the ground?
The left's obsession with identity politics is political suicide, and it's going to crush any chance they have in 2028. We've seen this play out before. Instead of focusing on real issues, they chase hashtags and Twitter applause. And voters punish them for it. But have they learned? Not at all. They keep doubling down on theatrics while ignoring the bread-and-butter concerns that actually matter to working families, like inflation, safety, and freedom. While the left performs for activist mobs, the rest of the country is moving on without them.
This kind of thing is antiquated. From 2010 to 2020, the number of people identifying as multiracial in America went up 276%. 1 in 5 newlyweds now are in an interracial marriage, and that number goes up to 100% in ads for Subaru. You couldn't do a remake of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner today because almost 100% of Americans approve of interracial marriage, especially with rich in-laws. And 95% of white women would leave their husband to marry Idris Elba.
Maher nails it when he says identity politics leads nowhere. America is the most diverse country in the world, a massive melting pot of races, cultures, and backgrounds. And most people already get it. Skin color doesn't define character, worth, or destiny. But the woke left refuses to let go of the past, recycling old racial grievances like it's still the 1960s. They want every interaction framed as oppressor versus victim, privilege versus oppression. Meanwhile, millions of Americans are working, living, and thriving together every day. Maher's right. This obsession isn't progress. It's desperation.
Who says, as humans, we are obsessed with race, and that obsession can really hinder people's aspirations. Actress Raven-Symoné agrees. She told Oprah, "I'm tired of being labeled. I'm not an African American. I'm an American." She says, "I don't know what country in Africa I'm from. My roots are in Louisiana." And you don't have to agree with that. But it's a point of view a lot of people have. It should be respected. Morgan Freeman says the way to finish off racism is stop talking about it. I'm going to stop calling you a white man, and I'm going to ask you to stop calling me a black man. There's even a movement now to ban racial questions on the census, and many of its leaders are people of color, like Professor Sheena Mason, who says to undo racism, we have to undo our beliefs.
The first step toward real unity is letting go of the idea that race is the single most important thing about us. That doesn't mean pretending differences don't exist. It means recognizing and appreciating them without letting those differences divide us. We can honor heritage without weaponizing it. We can celebrate diversity without turning it into walls. Unity isn't about making everyone the same. It's about embracing the truth that despite our differences, we all share humanity, hopes, and the right to live freely. The sooner we focus on what unites us, the stronger we'll become as a nation.
Move on from identity politics. It's not working. It's not working for them or for us. Democrats are hemorrhaging the very voters they think they're pandering to. The Financial Times writes, Democrats are going backwards faster with voters of color than any other demographic, and suggests the reason is that a less racially divided America is an America where people vote more based on their beliefs than their identity. Exactly. Far-left liberals are living in an old paradigm. Americans don't fit into neat little boxes anymore. Who has the #1 country song right?
But instead of embracing that unity, the left clings to outdated grievances as if nothing has changed. Maher points out that this obsession isn't just tone-deaf, it's politically disastrous. While most Americans are building friendships, families, and communities across racial lines, Democrats keep framing every issue through identity politics. That might have worked decades ago, but today it feels exhausting and irrelevant. Donald Trump saw that clearly. He chose to sidestep identity politics entirely, talking to Americans as citizens, not as categories. And that's a big reason he connected with so many people.
And gay. And a brand ambassador for the waspiest purse in America, Coach. The biggest news star in country is Jelly Roll, who was a drug dealer, then a prisoner, then a rapper, and then a face-tatted country music star. Not to mention a giant middle finger to the idea of staying in your own lane. No. In America now, you're allowed to be many things all at once, and that's a good thing, even when it's really stupid.
free speech, freedom of religion, the right to rally behind any cause. These are the foundations of America. But sadly, today's left has abandoned much of that. They claim to stand for tolerance, but silence anyone who dares to question their orthodoxy. Say the wrong thing, and you're not debated. You're canceled, shamed, and dragged through the mud. That's not equality. That's authoritarianism in disguise. When a society shuts down dissent instead of confronting it, it doesn't just lose its freedom, it loses its soul.
And contradictory. 2/3 of Republican voters support weed legalization. And 41% of Democrats own or live with someone who owns a gun. Miss Marvel is Pakistani, and the winner of the last 2 NBA dunk contests is white. The new Captain America is black, and Spider-Man is black and Puerto Rican, just like AI George Washington. Latinos make up half of the Border Patrol, and the name of the coolest black dude on the planet.
America is changing fast, and the Democrats have 2 choices: adapt or fade away. But instead of evolving, they're clinging to strategies that feel stale and out of touch. The country has moved on, but the DNC is stuck repeating the same old lines, hoping for different results. Look at Trump. When he lost, he didn't sulk. He recalibrated, sharpened his message, and came back stronger. If Democrats want to survive, they'll need to do the same. Politics is about evolution. Adapt with the times or become irrelevant. Right now, Democrats are teetering on the edge of extinction. Unity, freedom, and real solutions, that's what voters want. Ignore it, and the future will belong to those willing to change.